Westloar here, and your mission, if you should choose to accept it, is to explore and delve into ever-increasing, dangerous mines and dungeons, pilfering loot, smashing skulls, and winning the hand of the fair maiden. There may or may not be a fair maiden. Welcome everyone, this is the mighty quest for epic loot. And is it mighty or epic? Well, hopefully we shall find out fairly shortly. I'm going to hop straight into a dungeon now. I'm going to pick one around about my level and see how I get on. All of these are player-made dungeons. Should I complete them all, I can also purchase more castles for 100 in-game currency. That's not premium, by the way, just so you know. Right then, let's jump into Sket 231 and see how well we get on. So my rewards are 313 XP, 264 gold, 230 life, and 20 crowns. Let's do this. Okay, so here we are. I thought it would be worth checking out the action element first, as you're going to be spending a lot of time fighting stuff. And if this doesn't work, wow, the rest of the game might as well not exist.
I feel kind of
So
bad
here
for
comes Sket 231's dungeon, custom made to make my life difficult. Although I've got to say it's fairly easy so far. Oh, here we go. Oh shit, that is a lot of mines. Whoa! That was also fairly easy to avoid. Jump the hamster wheel. Oh right, I forgot to enter my inventory. That was silly. Oh well, here we go. Here comes the challenge now. Okay, so I'm playing the knight, who funnily enough hits stuff, and that is about it. He's your standard tank DPS kind of guy.
No more room in my pocket.
And he got some really nice abilities, some really nice crowd control and group damage, AoE effects.
Before I can grab anything else.
So the whole kind of idea is to get through this dungeon in a certain period of time, which I haven't done. I've messed that up definitely. Should I do so and destroy all of his mines and what have you, then I get extra rewards. But I should get rewards just for destroying everything. Nice. So this is completely custom made. There we go. I got one star. I must have missed some enemies, otherwise I should have another star. Have I missed something?
I can't carry anymore.
I don't think so. Oh no, there we go.
I can't carry anymore.
That's frustrating. Okay, and there we go. That's that dungeon done. That was, I'm not gonna lie, fairly awful dungeon. Ah, there we go. Brilliant. So I got a fair amount of rewards from that.
Like taking candy from a really
How should we rate it, guys? Well, let's give it a 2, because it is a dungeon, but it's not very good.
Hey you
Could
smell funny.
try harder.
Really?
There we go. So that was it. I'm not going to lie, that was fairly underwhelming. Let's check out another one. And this is a level above me, so this is going to be challenging, and I'm well up for the challenge. Let's do this.
Don't worry, treasure chest.
Hopefully there'll be a lot more traps, difficult enemies, what have you. So as I say, this is going to form up most of your game. So what's the combat like? Well, it's fairly punchy and responsive. Every hit feels, you know, really kinetic and what have you. And that, as you probably well know, is fairly important when it comes to an action RPG. If you don't really feel you're doing anything, if your hits feel really feathery and what have you, well, you tend to put the game down, because that's what most of the game is going to be defined by. Oh, he's got a boss. This is going to be more interesting. So the systems, well, you have your standard abilities like cleave, which is my right click, and my normal attack. You've also got a charge as well, which is really nice, damaging in an area and charging and pushing back. But I also have mana abilities as well that I can only use when I have the mana. Now, I actually don't start off with mana in this game. I get it by hitting stuff. So that encourages you to, well, hit stuff, which is always good. If you're out of combat, that increases. So obviously you're going to want to spend a lot of time in combat running away non-advised, because you have to then go back into combat not being armed. Oh god, how many chickens are there? This is certainly more difficult than the last one. I didn't even have to use the potion for the last one. I haven't used quite a few. Take out these guys, these are healers. They will bring people back from the dead as well. Not advised to let that happen. Oh, I've got a feeling I'm not going to finish this in the allotted time. Especially with this guy.
Much better.
And there we go, I've got one potion left. You know, there's a fair amount of movement and what have you in this, so you can see the artillery little slimes that are dropping on me there from the boss and other mobs. I've got to, if I can, avoid those, and I'm definitely going to be taking a lot of damage. Oh, that's a much needed health boost there. Right. If I can kite well enough, it should be okay. Another one of those and kill him. Let's kick him again.
I need to get out of here.
Oh crap. Oh, I've got one more potion.
Just gets me to normal. No more room in my
And this is him gone. No, of course not.
I've got
There we
a
go.
good thing over here.
Oh shit, those shockwaves are going to do me in.
I'm already at max loot capacity.
So yeah, the combat's kind of, oh crap, slowed me down. There is some strategy to it as well, and positioning and what have you. So for instance, if I kick people in the right order and what have you and in the right direction, I can end up stunning a lot of them, dealing a lot more damage with the same ability, not having to wait then for the recharge. Timed right, that would have killed him, but of course he's got a defense ability there as well. Get behind them. Oh, that's me dead.
This ain't good.
Pick yourself up and keep fighting for 100 golds. Okay, yeah, I've put a fair amount of gold so far. Good stuff. But I don't think I'll get any more potions. Not supposed to. But if I get the rewards from this, I can make an offer. Okay, let's see if I can kill these guys. Okay, so this dungeon is actually fairly well put together. He's obviously got a fair amount of money and what have you to be able to do this. Now, that raises the questions, how do you get money? Well, the main way is through completing dungeons, which is another reason why the combat is so important. If it's not right, then, well, you're just not going to play. So there is a bit of grinding involved in getting the money. But it's only a bit of grinding, because actually this game is really generous with the loot that it gives you, at least to start off with. Oh, I didn't get the result because I didn't complete the objectives. Oh well, I still got a fair amount. Yeah, almost 500 of each, and you can have a good reward for that, because I like the design of that dungeon. So once you've got yourself the gold and the life force and what have you, you've been defeating dungeons. Well, what's it all for? What's the point of it all? Well, let me show you this neat little feature that makes the other half of the game. Welcome to a bird's eye view of my castle. You'll see I've already got some minions and some traps set up and what have you. So this is kind of the basic view of what's going on here. The idea is obviously to create a castle that is impenetrable. And impenetrable this is not. I got about 5 or so notifications when I logged in. These people have ransacked your castle and took your shit. Fortunately, there's a little shield up here that's activated when the first person kills you over a period of time, and therefore you will not lose stuff while this is active for 12 hours, which is really nice. It doesn't prevent players from getting gold and life force respectively, by playing your dungeon, but they won't get crowns, okay, which are then used in league tables and what have you. So how do you go about creating a dungeon? Well, most of it is centered around these buildings here, and most of all around your castle heart. Okay, so you can upgrade this, and I've certainly got the life force to do so now, which will allow you to unlock more buildings and levels of buildings, and also further research and all that sort of stuff. There we go, and I got myself 750 life force back for doing that, plus 50 premium currency. Nice. So you can see it's fairly generous, at least to start off with anyway, to get you started in the game and hook you in, I suppose. And I suppose that's the worrying thing about this sort of game. How much does it hook you in to start with before then slamming the premium money please card? Well, I've played it for about an hour. I've not really felt the need to invest any money, but as you can see, look at my dungeon. Okay, I'm level 6, so one level below the castle I just played, that difficult castle. I am nowhere near the level of protection and what have you as that guy is. And why is that? Well, because if I want to upgrade my castle heart again, let's have a look, it's going to cost me 1,000 life force. That's going to take a while to accrue. I'm going to have to play quite a lot of dungeons to get that. So how do I remedy that? Well, I spend premium coins, don't I? That's what I do. And I spend money. And I get supply packs like this one. It'll cost me $4.99. Now I do get some extra bling there as well, which could be used to buy cosmetic stuff, as well as some of the better traps and creatures and stuff. But yeah, I have to get boosts to improve this, so it doubles the chances. You get double chance to find magic items. Provides a temporary boost, so it's not actually specific on how much boost you get, but suffice to say, it's going to be fairly significant. So anyway, back to dungeon construction. Well, actually, all of these guys, if I hang on, let's see, if I come to the right page here, let's close this a second. All of these are movable. I can move everything here, so if I click that, I can place it anywhere on the map. Now obviously it's not going to let me complete my dungeon if the starting area and Castle Heart aren't connected. They need to be connected, but otherwise I can place them in any configuration that I like. If I come into the Architect, look at rooms, you can see there are a whole ton of configurations that I can buy and use to make my dungeon unique, and also to set up traps in the way that I like. So if we come over to this guy, I'm going to move him back so he's not flashing red. There we go, and we zoom in. I selected this kind of configuration here with a wall around the corner, so I have to funnel the players through fire traps, and then everything can swamp them. Also interestingly, you can set where these guys will proc once people walk in, so you can set it further down or further away, so they have to run to the point where you attack them, or your mobs will go and attack them. So there's a fair amount of strategy of placement as well. You can plan traps not just with your physical traps like your fire turrets and what have you, but also with your monsters as well. And you can place them in such a way that they protect each other. So you'll see I've got these puppeteers at the back here. Well, that's because I want these guys to resurrect my creatures while they're dealing with these trolls here. I want them protected, and it's going to make the whole operation a little bit more difficult for anyone attacking my castle. Let's move this one back. There we go. Okay, so you buy these creatures individually. So let's go to the summoning portal. And you can see here that they each cost life force. They're still not costing anything premium, at least not yet. I need a rank 4 summoning portal for all this sort of stuff, so let's see if I can make one. Oh no, we'll leave that there, I don't want to move it. There we go. How to upgrade it? I need 1,000 coins. Well, I can do that, yeah. Fantastic. And apparently I now get 250 life force for placing 2 smelly archers in my castle. Isn't that lovely? Right, so what can I do now? So even the bosses here even these bosses do not actually cost me actual money. I can use those with life force. But right, they're in my castle now. Great. So where's my quest reward? I think I probably have to validate it first. But as I say, you know, I've just used up all of the resources I've just got, and I actually got a fair few before I started recording as well. So you can see there, you know, it's going to take a lot to get a huge amount of creatures into your dungeon, because each of them costs life force, and you get, you know, comparatively to some of these creature costs, like the Defendertron is 110, well, you're going to have to destroy a fair few dungeons to get those. So some of these people have said this game is fairly pay to win. In some senses not. You can get everything apart from some of the cosmetic items without paying a penny, and even those, if you're willing to grind the gems for it, you can buy those as well. In fact, you can buy everything with the gems you receive from quests, I believe, apart from these packs here. But all the cosmetic stuff and what have you. There's the Emporium. So we go to the costumes, and some of the castle themes and what have you. All of these are available using those bling, okay? So you don't actually have to pay for those, but it's much quicker if you do. And I think that's really the name of the game. You don't have to pay for anything, but it's going to be much easier and quicker for you if you do, which means you're going to end up with a better castle much quicker, and possibly better than your level normally would compared to a free-to-play character. So like we saw, that guy's castle, one level above me, was far and away better than mine. And of course there should be a difference between levels, but that was more than a marked difference. So maybe this is pay to win. But has it been fun so far? And at least for a little bit, yeah. Definitely. As I say, the combat is good, it feels punchy. And, you know, it is a lot of fun. The abilities are well thought out and effective. I don't have to sprinkle anything to death. I don't have to slowly grind against stuff until it dies. You know, my abilities are doing a fair amount of damage. So yeah, I'm happy with the combat. So, you know, is the grind so bad if actually grinding is fun? In a sense, no. I suppose it's not. But then it comes down really to the key thing of anything that you have to grind is how much do you have to do it, because it doesn't matter how fun a game is. When it comes to grind, if you're spending a few hours just to make a little bit of progress and you're not into playing an MMO, then that's going to be a problem. And to start off with, no, that is not the case, but I can certainly see that happening with the later level of this, especially when you're buying huge creatures and what have you that are costing 400 or 500, maybe even 1,000 life force at a time. It's going to take you a fair amount to get that. Now, just so you wonder what's going on here, I am actually paying my own dungeon, yes. Why am I doing that? Well, if you change your dungeon, you must validate it. First of all, to see if it works, but also, if you don't kill creatures or what have you during your playthrough or set traps off, they basically don't work when a player attacks. Creatures are asleep, and I believe traps do not go off. And that's a real nice feature in some ways. It's quite innovative, and I do like it, but at the same time it's kind of counterintuitive, because what it's basically saying is, if you can't beat your own castle, then you essentially can't use it. In other words, if your castle is really difficult and players are going to struggle to beat it, then you can't use it. So you have an inherent problem, is if you make an awesome dungeon that's very difficult to complete and you actually can't complete it all when you play through it, well then actually that dungeon you might as well have not made it, because it won't exist as you've made it when other players come to play it. So that seems a little counterintuitive to me, if I'm honest. Personally, I haven't seen that being much of a problem. But it certainly could be. Oh, I beat my personal best time. That's nice. So, what is the overview of this game then? Well, as this is a first impressions, you know, I haven't gone into too much detail. I haven't looked at any of the league or competitive systems. I've only briefly spoken about the premium side of things. So what are my first impressions? Well, actually the combat is very fun. It's quite nice to be able to build your own dungeons vis-a-vis Dungeon Keeper style, and then actually play through them as well. That is quite nice. It's quite unique and innovative. Is it going to keep me coming back playing for hours on hours on hours? Probably not, to be honest. Probably not, because, you know, really you're going to keep coming back to make your dungeon better, but you never actually see your dungeon be defeated. There's nothing you can physically do to stop that from happening when it's happening. I mean, you can watch the playthroughs and see how your dungeon was defeated, and then you can tailor your dungeon based on that to improve it, but it doesn't really pull me in beyond a few hours, if I'm honest. So, I mean, I recommend you try it, and you never know, you might have a different opinion to me, you might love it and play it for hours and hours on end, but not really the sort of game I'm going to be playing a lot of, to be honest. About the premium stuff, as I've said, it is fairly generous, at least to start with the amount of gold and life force and stuff that you receive, but I believe in the end, to keep up with everyone else, especially in terms of competitiveness, you are probably going to have to buy some supply packs and what have you to boost the level that you receive resources, because it is fairly slow. I mean, these mines, you know, these two mines here, they replenish resources that you can harvest, but they take a long time, and you can upgrade them and they're quicker and provide more resources, etc., but still they take a long time. And grinding dungeons, especially as you level up to pay for more and more expensive stuff, is going to become more and more of a necessity. So certainly download it and try it out. It is free after all. As I say, it might be your cup of tea. It's just not really mine. But check it out. Anyway guys, this has been Westloar, first impression of the mighty quest for epic loot. I hope you enjoyed it, and please stay tuned for more.